This integrity session is dealing with ER and IR verbs. It's coming from Lesson 3 in the Vistas 3rd edition book. This lesson begins on pages 96 and 97 in the book. Alright, what we're going to talk about are ER and IR verbs, but first what we're going to do is quickly review verbs that end in the letter AR. Because remember earlier we discussed the fact that there are only 3 endings for verbs in Spanish: AR verbs, ER verbs, and IR verbs. And the AR verbs, remember the endings were O, AS, A, AMOS, and UN. Alright, that was yo. This one was the tú. This one went for the él, ella, and usted forms. This one went for the nosotros. And the last one went for the ellos, ellas, and ustedes forms. Now, ER verbs and IR verbs have a similar pattern. For ER verbs, in the yo form, it's going to end in an O, and for an IR, it's going to end in an O. For the tú form, it's ES for both of them. For the él, ella, and usted forms, they're E's. For the nosotros form, it's EMOS in the ER, but over here, it's IMOS for IR verbs. Then EN and EN. So the only difference between the two is that one right there, the nosotros form, amos and emos. Alright, what you're going to do is this. On page 97 in your book, there's a list of ER and IR verbs. They're also in your vocabulary list for Lesson 3. So we can take the verb beber for to drink, and we'll take the verb vivir, which means to live. Alright, and over here we'll put our pronouns again. Alright, so when you want to conjugate the verb beber, you take off the ER, vivir, you take off the IR. So your first one is going to look like this, bebo, because we're using the O. This one is going to be vivo, because it's an O. Yo bebo, I drink. Yo vivo, I live. Tú is going to be bebes, B-E-B-E-S, or tú vives. You drink, you live. Él, ella, and usted is going to be bebe, or vive. Both of them end in an E. Nosotros is going to be bebemos, we drink. This one is going to be vivimos, we live. Because again, this one is an EMOS on the end, this one is an IMOS on the end. And then the last one, they're both going to end in EN, beben and viven. If you've already memorized your AR verb endings, the O, AS, I, AMOS, and UN, really you're just taking out the A and changing it to an E for most of them. And it's as simple as that to conjugate one of those verbs from that page. You can take another verb. You can take the verb, we'll take the verb leer, to read. And we'll take the verb escribir, to write. Okay? Alright, when you take this one, you're going to take that ER off. You're going to take that IR off. So this one is going to be leo. This one is going to be escribo. That's I read, I write. Let me get that up there at the top. All right. The to form is going to be tú lees, tú escribes. Él, ella, and usted is going to be lee or escribe. That's he reads. Ella lee could be she reads. Usted lee would be you read. Escribe would be he writes, she writes, or you write. Nosotros leemos. Nosotros escribimos. Again, the only difference is this one is EMOS, this one's, IMOS, excuse me. And then this last one is going to be leen, and this one is going to be escriben. So what you need to do again is to sit down with, just like you did with the AR verbs, and you need to memorize them in order. O, es, amos, ein, and then IR, o, es, emos, ein. And then you'll be able to conjugate any of those verbs from pages 96 and 97 in lesson 3. Alright, this concludes the 2-graded session for ER and IR verbs.